In this lesson, we are going to discuss converting between different units of measurement. We are going to assume that our question or our problem that we are trying to solve is 6,000 milliliters equals how many liters? We're going to use a variable for what we don't know in this problem. 6,000 milliliters equals X liters. Now, to find out how to convert between milliliters and liters, you need to look at your conversion charts to see how many milliliters are in a liter or how many liters are in a milliliter, depending on which one's bigger. When you look at your conversion charts, you should find that 1,000 milliliters actually equals 1 liter. Also, the root word in milliliters, milli, means 1,000. So now we know 1,000 milliliters equals 1 liter. We've listed what we don't know or what we're trying to find here. Now we're going to use our equivalent fraction algorithm and write what we know on the top to help us find what we don't know. Like we said, 1,000 milliliters equals 1 liter. So to know where to put our data in or our information in, we need to first just move up our units right above from where they are so they're on the same side. Milliliters is all on the left and liters are all on the right. So we know 1,000 milliliters equals 1 liter. Now, to help us solve what we don't know, our variable or our x, we need to find out what we did to the top of our fractions or our problem to find out what we need to do to the bottom. Just like with an equivalent fraction, you have to be a copycat. Do the same thing to the numerator that you did to your denominator in order to make an equivalent fraction. So let's look. How did we get from 1,000 to 1? Well, we need to do something to make our 1,000 smaller, so we're not going to be multiplying. Instead, we're going to be dividing. If you divide 1,000 by 1,000, your answer will be 1, because we know our rule is any number divided by itself is equal to 1. So now we divided by 1,000 to get from 1,000 milliliters to 1 liter. We need to do the same thing to the bottom of our problem, because just like when we're making equivalent fractions, we're a copycat. We do the same to the bottom that we do to the top. So we're going to divide by 1,000. Now we can see our number sentence. 6,000 divided by 1,000 equals. And this should be pretty simple. A lot of the times when we're converting, you're going to be able to use a calculator. This one you shouldn't need it for. You should be able to tell right away that 6,000 divided by 1,000 is 6. So then we know our x, or our variable, will equal 6. So 6,000 milliliters is equal to 6 liters. Now we're going to do another one, and just to show a different example, because we were converting from a smaller unit to a larger unit. When you're converting from a smaller unit to a larger unit, you're dividing. But if you're converting from a larger unit to a smaller unit, you're going to multiply because you're going to have a larger number. Now let's look. What if we were trying to find 7 meters equals how many centimeters, or x centimeters? Again, we're using our variable. Well, meters is larger than centimeters. we're going to a smaller unit, so we're going to multiply. If you don't know that, we can just solve our algorithm like we did before, and it'll help you to realize that we're multiplying. So if all you know in your problem is 7 meters equals how many centimeters, you need to look at your conversion chart to find out more information. So what we don't know is on the bottom, and what we know we're going to find from our conversion chart and right in the top. Again, we're going to move meters up because you keep the same unit on the side that isn't originally on. So let's find out what we know about meters and centimeters. Take a minute to look at your conversion chart. If you do, you should see that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So we're going to plug that information from our conversion chart right into the top of our problem here. 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. Let's take a look to see what we did on the top of our fractions to get from 1 to 100. Well, 1 going to 100, we're moving to a larger number, so we're going to multiply. And we know we're going to multiply by 1. We use our simple rule for multiplication times 1, just like we did with division times itself. Any number times 1 is that number, or is the number that you're multiplying times 1. So we multiplied by 100 on the top. We know we need to do the same thing to the bottom. 7 times 100 is going to be our number sentence. 7 times 100, and that gives us 700. Again, here we don't need to use a calculator. Pretty simple problem we can be able to see. And we know that our unit is centimeters. So 7 meters equals 700 centimeters. Now for one more example, sometimes you'll see a problem similar to this, where you have an actual number sentence using different units of measurement. For example, 700 centimeters plus 2 meters equals how many centimeters? Now here we have 3 different units of measurement. We have centimeters, we have meters, and we have centimeters. So we actually have 2 different units of measurement, but we see 3 different units listed in our number sentence. So to more easily solve this problem, we need to find which unit of measurement is not like the other 2. In this case, it's 2 meters. If we convert that to centimeters, then we'll have a simple addition problem, all using the same unit, which will make it much easier. So let's convert 2 meters to centimeters. Well, again, let's write what we don't know underneath what we know. Okay, what don't we know, or what are we trying to find? 2 meters, and we said we want to convert that to centimeters, equals 2 meters equals x centimeters. Okay, let's look on our conversion chart to find out what we know about meters and centimeters. And if you remember from before, or if you have your conversion chart in front of you, you can see that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. And again, we're keeping the units on the same sides that they were originally on when we wrote our problem on the bottom. You can start your problem with either unit on either side as long as you stay consistent and keep your units on the side that you started with. So let's see what we did at the top. 1 times what equals 100? Well, 1 times 100 equals 100, so we know we'll do the same to the bottom. Multiplying by 100 again. So our number sentence will be 2 times 100 to find our variable. That equals 200 centimeters. So we know that 2 meters actually equals 200 centimeters. So I'm going to go back up into my equation here, and I'm going to replace that 2 meters with 200 centimeters. Now, since every number in our number sense is the same unit, it's a simple addition problem. 700 centimeters plus 200 more centimeters equals 900 centimeters. Using this algorithm that's related to equivalent fractions when converting between different units of measurement is really helpful to help you really just look at the information to find out how to convert between different units of measurement. Are you multiplying or are you dividing? Now, if you're converting, like we said, to a smaller unit of measurement, you need to multiply. If you're converting to a larger, you need to divide. It's important to remember that this algorithm is just a tool to help you make the connections.